The buy is shoddy, scraping the bottom of the barrel. We're gonna need another miracle.
Jason's gonna need a miracle of their own. Oh my word. I got so fearful for them there. How close they're holding on to this angle, right? It's just a Guardian, though. They're gonna have to be fast with this. They go for the swing. That was brilliant from Muffin Cat to draw the attention away from Mate Niles. But what's not brilliant here? The defense collapsing in on itself. UST, magnanimous in their approach. Not so much inside of the gulag. Lace, again, putting forth the effort, putting in the time.
I heard the drop down.
This refrag, this re-hit. It's a 2v2. Time.
No.
He gets them. Lace, assassinating from up above, lands the headshot here. Yowie, by themselves. Delay for as long as possible. They have the Hunter's Fury. They're not going to expend it too crazily just yet. And all onto the shoulders of Lace. Emboldened by Jason. They hold on for yet another round.
12-5 now. Takes 7 rounds to get to overtime, but I mean, that round played out fairly well, right? Your A team comes in for the retake after your B anchors and takes a few players down with them. It's well done. Again, Showy really didn't have that bodyguard-esque prowess either to comfort to use Hunter's Fury, forced to play forward here. And, I mean, that point, it's going to take, again, 7 more rounds, so just have to stick it out.
It's a long journey to make, Zobi. The one that UCI is going to need to do piece by piece, moment by moment, time by time. Here it is. It's all just use the uppercut, layer it in with a Hunter's Fury, and hope the vulnerable and damage from the Hunter's Fury can get someone here. Instead, it's Clint winning out in their engagement against Richie on the A side. Now this is just kind of the go point here for UST. The lockdown expended, but a Hunter's Fury is going to make short work of that here. Never mind, no, it's not.
No
Lockdown's
way.
still in effect.
And this is perfect because the players are now contemplating, I think I was going to expect maybe even a rotate. And nope, the re-hit comes through. This is probably the best thing they could have done. They're still not completely sold on the B re-exec. I mean, your Viper starting to re-explore over towards A. But I don't know, I was going to say that places Showy alone here, actually, as their teammates fall around them. And now, I mean, it's 1v1s against mirror matchups on opposite sides of the map, right? Viper versus Viper A, Sova versus Sova B. And we finally are going to get that kind of link up over here towards the A side. Jason, I'm pretty sure, has heard Glyph. Glyph overconfident in the aggression. They call. How?
Wait a minute. There's a ability here, though. They just jump out. Jason didn't see it.
No way.
It's not possible, right? Surely this isn't going to fail like this for UCI. They know that someone's behind them. They hear the footsteps in this direction. They see the recon bolt.
Oh.
But everything known by Jowie. UST takes map number 1 of Icebox in dominating 13-5 fashion.
In the 9-3 to the 13-5 for map 1. I mean, you know, UCI, we said they had the names, they had the firepower. You know, we were kind of giving them the benefit of the doubt of their rating, given the run they have had, you know, beating Kaiser, you know, beating out UST Cardinals. And I mean, now when you're coming up with the runner-ups to CVAL 2024, you can start to see the weaknesses exposed. I mean, the players we asked to frag like Lace were definitely doing what she could, but ultimately, I mean, it's hard when you only win 3 rounds on that attack half, despite it being more defense-sided. Again, the confidence, the shots, and even some of the outplay potential there. I mean, we talked about Jason, you know, 1 hit, 1 miss on the lurk plays. Glyph, really well done there. Again, to close things out.
Yeah, there's a strong map here for University of St. Thomas. A great showing for them as they are showing off what they can do in the lower bracket, right? Sent down here, making their run. There's still, at the very least for this team, 1 more map to go if they can close things out on our second map. But you're right, that UCI has to be going back to the drawing board, seeing what they need to change to make it work, because now their backs are against the wall. They lose this second map, Zobi, it's done, it's dusted. They are done with CVAL.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, I think they righted the wrongs in terms of their region, but now they're trying to expand outwards, right? Make a new name for themselves for the CVAL championship run, you know, alongside SJSU being one of those now pillars of the West if you dethroned USC Cardinals already in the lower brackets, eliminate their opportunities to make that deep run. But in the meantime, Sam, we are going to jump to a quick break, and when we come back, we're headed to Lotus. I said it was a coin task map for UCI. It's UST's pick, so Maybe we'll see something expected, or maybe it will just be that 2-0 and the underdog's journey will finally be snuffed out. Make sure to stick around to find out.
The times are good if you're University of St. Thomas after a dominating victory against University of California, Irvine, 13-5 on Icebox. Now the only thing separating them from continuing their lower bracket run is the map of Lotus. They can close it out here. They get to take on their rivals yet again of WVU. If not though, right, UCI gets another chance to take things back into their hands from map number 3.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like I mentioned, UCI has a bumpy history with Lotus. They haven't played in their CVAL championship run because it was kind of a soft spot over in CVAL West, you know, losing it to CSULB in the lowers 8-13. It's the map that sent them out of CVAL West, and it could just be the map that sends them out of CVAL champions if UST is in fact able to win it, which they've played at both of their series here. In the uppers against Fisher Navy, it was a win 13-9, and then it was a little bit closer, interestingly enough, against Columbia when they got sent to the lowers after that loss, 14-12. So there's definitely some weaknesses I think that we can hopefully see UCI exploit, but my concern is that the comp they run on Icebox and the mentality of Lotus are both really confident, enabled, like, styles, approaches, and I just don't know if UCI is going to have that after the dominance that UST had over them on Icebox.
Yeah, and especially when you think of UST beating Fisher Navy at least on Lotus,
yeah,
that has to be a big confidence boost for them. And especially with the playstyle, when we're talking about confidence, you can already see it right here. Look who Glyph is playing. Yeah. It's the Clove. Both squads run the double controller. UC Irvine might be changing things up a little bit here, but UST, yeah, no, it's going to be the double controller, more standard double controller with the Viper rather than the Clove that we're seeing from UST. That Clove, right? That Clove pick is just the signal for the confidence bell to be rung. What makes this even more interesting though, right, is the mate Niles Reina.
That is actually spicy because they normally go the Rays here. Glyph on the Clove, nothing new. They're embracing their game mentality. Everything else kind of filters how we expected. This shows we just 13-5 to team. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I don't see how Arena can logically slot in here. Like, it's not a space-making agent, right? It's not like you have a Neon that can stun. It's not an ISO who can scale up on their own. This concerns me a little bit in terms of just, like, if you leave apart, like, how map 1 went and look at this objectively as a map 2 Lotus, it's big question marks, right? Other than Glyph maybe being that side-by-side entry and you just run it down together, which for UC Irvine, I got to highlight for them in particular. I mean, they're having issues on their attack, right, over on Icebox. So I think that's what this composition hopes to overcome, because they dropped the Vice pick and picked up the Jason L Breach, which was not there previously. They were still running the double controller, but it was just with a Tejo and a Vice. So the Flash is still here, just a different kind, and the stuns, I think, really hoping to overwhelm maybe the mechanical difference that UST was putting up over on Icebox.
Gonna have to go. Okay, all right, never mind. We were, our hearts were being
Thank you, May Niles. Oh my goodness. I was about to say, I'm like, I know y'all won 13-5, but this is an elimination match.
Yeah, that last second switch over from the Reina to the Rays, you're not gonna want to leave anything on the table. You don't want to give any chances for UC Irvine to have the best possibility of going to Fracture. So yeah, okay, Rays, much better idea. Thank you. Right, that's where Glyph is basically Reina anyways with Clove. They still get the overheal, they get the speed boost. It's not quite as fancy, it's not quite as flashy, right, as what we could get from a Reina, but it's still an agent that we're going to want to keep our eyes on. But this is everything for UC Irvine. This attack needs to be theirs. This attack half needs to grab as many rounds as possible without that Sentinel on their side, without a Vice, without a Deadlock, without Cypher, without anything, right? UST could run crazy on their own attack. Yeah,
I mean, I think UC Irvine, again, they're starting to attack the entire series, and that clearly didn't work out on Icebox. Still warming up. You have to be in control of the tempo. I think for Lotus, it's the best case scenario we could hope for here, because it is, I think, a lot more sided of a map than Icebox is typically. But again, that confidence is going to show. It's already showing, right? You don't even have your duelist pushing up A main. It's your Omen solo walking down, punishing off the Omen toxic screen, and it's Seikyu, your Vice, winning fights alongside Glyph C-Mount. Like,
one flash is all it took, and the life of Glyph, and they've now even found out where Jason is. So this poor Breach is stuck inside of here, suppressed. There's no flashes, there's no fault lines that can be used. And Seikyu's already here, over on the rotate. They know that this Breach has to have been pushed back, either in through Waterfall or up towards Heaven. That's exactly where they're going to be going. They're still keeping a dogged eye on this, and Seikyu's going to protect up through Sands to make sure that breach that Jason hasn't gone any further than that. But the two Jasons are the ones that are left alive, and the two Jasons are separated from each other. And so whatever has to happen here, Jason needs to win. But guess what? You're walking into CQ, who's one away from the ace now, on track and brilliantly doing it so far. And they may even be able to accomplish this here, right? Jason's going to be pushed away by the guided salvo, dip back inside of the smoke. The CQ's here. They're clearing through everything. They're hungry for an ace, right? They have 8 bullets left in the chamber and try to go for anything here. The squad is setting them up too, right? You can see that it's happening in here. Zowie!
How could you? They did everything. You talked about the Arcro setting up the mountain fight for success. They handled your loose end. They tied it up with a neat bow when you couldn't over towards stairs, and now that's how you repay them. Okay. But UST, a dominant way to win the pistol round. I did really like the pace there, I'll say, from UCI, right? They kind of gave Jason L the time to develop. Jason waited things out, didn't too speedily run into the B when the stack from Blue Room would have been able to handle it. They really wanted that tipping point, that surprise element to pop first. And they had over a minute to do so, but ultimately I wish we could have, if Seikyu wasn't there, I think that would have gone really, really well. So again, Seikyu, the crux, going to the next round. Not how we wanted UCI to start things out, but this time, I mean, if you know what's gonna happen, you can counter it. Check your corners though, please.
They may not even need to check their corners. The guided salvo is going to delay things out long enough for Glyph to hold this position. And then the stealth drone coming out is just the extra icing on top. They're going to back away. First stealth drone is going to see them. Glyph taking so much damage through that smoke, but they're alive, and that's what matters. The regen shield is going to bring them back up to 25 HP, but they're being stunned out in every single avenue. This is just so disastrous. Now he's got to look behind them. They're winning somehow. Glorb Sonics is there, but Jason's fighting back. Again, it falls down to the shoulders of the two Jasons, but they're alive. They got the better weapons. They can get the spike planted. Let's make Niles has something to say about that.
Now, Jason in the clutch position again. This time it's a little bit more feasible. Plenty of time. Can likely hit the satchels over towards Waterfall. They even get the close angle, but they've switched out their own. The Stinger, they relinquish the Guardian to have a fight advantage. That is insanity. And UST, while it's bumpy and bruised, they still walk away with that second round. So economy gonna be a little bit closer, you know, here coming into this third. Not gonna be as strong of a bonus conversion here, but regardless, nicely done.
Nicely done indeed. But also good from UCI, adapting the strategies. Look at that. They know that someone's gonna play up at mountain. You just go ahead, fault line and stun them out.
Yeah.
Stop them from really doing anything here. This is heroic so from Jowie and Glorb Sonic.
That was crazy.
But this is also crazy from Jason. A good look at what could be unfolding in front of us for Lotus. Yeah. Now UCI, right? They lost the bonus on Icebox. They cannot lose that here.
Cover going out.
I mean, you know, they don't have the weapons to challenge full Vandals, so they just break on through A main here. Not much contestation either, because UST is brewing for the flank, and Jason handles one. The trade out gives Seikyu an upgrade, but they're worried about the retaliation. They disengage a little bit further. Shall we? Not even sure how to have Blue Room, you find that, but the distraction's enough. Glorb Sonics gets the timing. Jason gets the trade. Still on their way towards the A site, but I mean, at this point, look, there's weapons and Cubby to collect for Shawi. You have the rotation. Seikyu didn't get the trophy here. The Vandal over towards Mound, a little sad, but this is not the cleanliness we wanted out of UCI.
No, it's not. The big thing here, though, is Jason taking their one slowly but patiently over on the other side. But Seikyu! At long range with the Guardian. Puts Lace away and gives UST the bonus yet again.
Deny my ace, I might as well get the spotlight another way. The clutch on the bonus conversion. The one weapon that was carried over, I think, got handed off to Seikyu because they are that solo anchor C, and they were going to be that pinch flank player as well. And it worked out beautifully. I mean, I was wary. I'm like, why didn't you follow through? Why didn't you get the gun upgrade? But they're confident with the Guardian. They showcase it. They keep UST on the streak of dominance we saw exhibited on their defense side over on Icebox. And now, I mean, coming into this round, it's another scrape the barrel style buy from UCI. They don't want to go down 7-8-0 like they were over on Icebox. And my concern here is that if Seikyu recognizes this and they're on the C site, that Steel Garden's going to come in real clutch.
Oh, yeah. And they're just going to back away, too. UCI overplaying their hand maybe just a little bit for mountain control. This is bad, though. Jason, first blood by Glorb Sonics. And Now you're trying to poke and prod back onto the side, but looking on the other side, right, you have the thorns right there, arc rows. The second any noise is made by Richie, it's just going to be done for and dusted. And Mate Niles claims yet another life over at this A site. Finally, UST's just like, all right, we'll make our push. We'll take our fights here. UCI's coming in, and we're going to win these. Glyph is going to eat him alive, but wait a minute. Oh, Muffin Cat, a little too impatient, but this could be something big here.
HP.
It's 23 HP though, and look what's happening over at Waterfall. The smokes are gonna dissipate. Muffin Cats gets over to the other side in the nick of time. Look at all the players bearing down on them. And if that wouldn't have happened there, the paranoia blinded them. Mate Niles is gonna get them anyways. UST, unstoppable.
Small mistake, but overall, just the plan, the execution, the C setup. I love how that was played, right? Like, SayQ easily could have been that player playing band, right? Playing off their arc throws. The fact that they communicated to a T, Glyph swings off of it to get their first two, is perfection because you wanted SayQ alive as that last kind of, we need the Steel Garden play, right? So the fact that, again, they let Glyph take the helm of the ship, perfection, and while they died later on to that Guardian, you didn't really expect Muffin Cat behind, yes. So 4-0 here. Showstopper utilized. Maybe a way in on the eco route, but you're going to be cut off. You're going to be alone. Sheer walls up. And respect shown for now. But look at the two players. Once again, there's no utility on the flank here because you don't have a Sentinel.
Yeah. Someone's got to look behind them, right? Surely someone's got to keep an eye on that. They're going, hey, they're just going to run Ripshot through with the breach ultimate. The Rolling Thunder, though, didn't do anything to stop UST. The save is still on their side, and then now they're getting their weapons taken away by the Steel Garden flank of all things. It comes down to the Jasons yet again. Where are they going to go from here? Jason has the spike, but look at Glyph. Confident in the corner clears, confident in their fight. University of St. Thomas. Doesn't matter what you throw at them, they're going to flawlessly win this round.
And I mean, I liked the showstopper execution. It felt like UCI just wasn't ready to follow it up. They're like, wait a minute, no one's here? That actually worked? Like, it felt like maybe that was supposed to be a fake sell, and then they realized, wait, we have all the psych, we have to actually commit. And then again, you didn't leave Jason. You didn't leave anybody watching Mountain, watching A main, which is almost like a prerequisite. And again, it goes back to this composition change that was made. Very last minute, it felt like maybe after Icebox's performance away from the Vice. So they're maybe not used to not having their back covered, but here we go. This failed last round. It's gonna see if they can succeed this time around. Fighting A main, breaking through these forces, even with suboptimal weaponry.
And the best part about this is UST doesn't even need to fight for this control. They know they have the better weaponry, so why take the odds and give up a weapon? And it's just play back, play safe, and play for our lives here. Mate Niles, they're still gonna try and double dip back in for another pick. They're low on that HP, just gotta back off for now. And Jason's gonna be eaten alive by the guided salvo. It's just nothing that they can do. UST is 2 rounds in a row. Flawless.
Wow. All right. And here we go. 6-0. The timeout familiarly taken. A little bit sooner this time around, I'm assuming, for UCI. And again, the difficulty is you're starting on the attack, a more attack-sided map this time around, so this is arguably worse, right, than Icebox was. And again, it really came down to just, I think, not having the confidence that we mentioned. It's hard to say what they could fix here for the side of UCI. I mean, look at the odds for UST, right? I mean, again, like UCI, let's try and identify what's worked for them. I think what they've done well is, right, you think about like SayQ and challenging C-Mount. They got away with it once, and then UCI quickly overcame it the second time. So they know how to like recognize the mistakes, clean them up really, really quickly. So that's one thing. Number two, they break through these sites pretty quickly when they have even or better weaponry. A-Mount, a little bit the exception point there, I think. And then things to fix, I mean,
I feel like the biggest problem right now is that UST's just shooting real good too, Zobi.
Yeah, I can't analyze that though.
Yeah, I know.
Burr, FPS diff, go about your day, yeah. But
don't
like,
worry, I'll hit you with the play-by-play analysis.
That's the question though. If UST is aiming, if you are UCI, how do you overcome it? And that's what I thought the breach was supposed to help with.
Yeah, it feels like there's just some desync in the utility usage that when it does work for UCI, works really well. But in these moments where they're getting outplayed, I mean, look at this, Jason! Jason, for goodness sake, buddy! Behind you, my friend! You've been outflanked again by UST. And now the Viper's falling yet again. Thankfully, though, Richie has a trade out onto Sonics. That's one big way to go back on the side, but when Chowie's able to hold things here, and the spike is still that far back, right, UST is going to be able to come back over in this direction and have a strong retake. Get this out of the smoke. AQ, it is the quickest of a lifetime to land it there. And then Mate Niles just pulled up the tempo. The Cat's going to try and do their best to fight back, but when UST is looking like this, fight is hard.
Momentum shift out of the timeout denied. And that's my concern here is, right, like a lot of the rounds on Icebox, despite the 9-3 clap, they were close, right? Came down to 1v1s, 1v2s, etc. This, it's been just pretty dominant. It's really difficult for UCI to even get a chance footing here. And they're just consistently buying where they can. Some ultimates this time to go around. What can you do? What can you change? Looks like they're headed back towards the C site. So one thing they realized, like, if we first blood stay Q, the round gets a lot easier. And so I like this Teo utility. I mentioned the C site, lately C Mount's been pretty strong. And I was nervous, because usually when they leave one player here over towards A, they lose the fight. So what do? They put two. Muffin Cat fights alongside it, but it's again the flank! They're starting to recognize it. Muffin Cat has the timing on this fight!
They lose it though, but it's Glyph, right? This is Glyph we're talking about. If you're gonna take your ones against them,
they weren't looking at you.
You better be prepared. Yeah, exactly. They weren't looking at you, and that's what I'm saying. UST is just shooting so good, Toby. Sometimes the simplest strategy is just land your shots, and that's what Lace is showing off in true fashion. But then you get sandwiched inside, but the guided salvo is still gonna take them down. Lace. It doesn't matter if it's a triple kill. UST and Glyph alone clutches it out.
At this point, two things. One, that's devastating. Lace, literally, like, in their final will and testament was like, I leave this round clutch to you, Jason, and takes it down, so it's 2v2, where you know where Glyph is! And they still lose the fight. But again, UCI, after that, they cleaned up a lot of the mistakes, right? Like I've mentioned, they cleaned up how they were losing players A. They leveraged what was working for them fighting Mound. It was just the rotation, the immediate fight back from UST that went really, really well. So maybe what I want to see from UCI, stay in spawn for like 20, 30 seconds. See what happens. This team is getting fueled by ego. Look at how deep Glyph lives. Just wait!
Don't go into the one-way. Glyph is just out here too. They're looking at everything possible to set Mate Niles up here. And now they're being run down. Jason had the judge, but that range is just not gonna beat the rest of the squad. Jason has to flick back over to the headshot. Loaded by themselves in an island where Sonics is pushing up on all angles. UST has complete control of this Lotus map.
Wow. Now I know. UCI, when do you run your second timeout? I mean, don't really have an answer. I mean, the ults are coming online. Is that an operator? Why are you opping? You're having enough trouble getting into side. Okay, actually, I'm lying. The operator may be what I was hoping for, right? Wait for UCST to fight into you, punish them for it. In the Breach's hands, interesting. But let's see if it works, right? Before we judge it.
This is sort of a Hail Mary moment.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be ready for this. It may not even be coming into fruition in any way. Because his Mate Niles and Sonics looking so clean on the defense. And it's just UCI's only able to get away with like one or two through some heroic efforts of one player. But the rest of the squad can't materialize anything else beyond that. And again, you leave Jason alone by themselves, the lurk player. Where do you go from here? What do you do at this point? What do you do at this stage? You go and grab the spike. Sonic's gonna put up a smoke in front of you. You're just gonna have to walk right into that. All they have to do is just shoulder peek over and over. They've seen them. They know that Jason's here. And guess what? Look who's behind you. It's Glyph and SayQ again. Jason's got the first one there, but SayQ, it's always the second one. That's a thorn in the side.
There was a world. I don't even know if they spotted Sonics too, because they were looking the other way when they got this toward the corner peak. But I mean, that's difficult. I said like a win con, right? Okay, you have the ults, maybe leverage those, but again, I mean, the weapons constrained. It's double digits for UST. They just really lead into, again, punishing maybe the aggression from UST. And again, the coordination, the experience for the squad is starting to shine through. Again, A Rebel, you can't take that space. Like, I don't know. Aside from that, finally they have Jason on these lurks, again, trying to recognize the flank. And it's every round, UST's just rolling up. They can be main, they can see Mound. And this time the Armageddon comes through. They might have a glimmer in the dark. They may have an ace side exec, but Glyph rotates immediately.
Thankfully, no one dying to their
Wait, send
own
it in. No, the bomb
Armageddon.
button.
Richie! Richie!
It's not on them.
Just go
That's
in.
not on them. The showstopper. He didn't spot. There's another boom bot didn't spot them. And now Glyph's gonna find Lace. No.
There's no way. No, they didn't go out on the other side. But they did get rid of Richie. They knew that the player was here. Doesn't matter though. UST is just on another level. They're on another plane of existence. And existence, win at all costs. Win throughout it all. And it's trade for trade, but with UST having the numbers, it is just 2 more rounds of Lotus. And they move on to take on West Virginia University.
11-0 here. And, I mean, we said it, that would be West Virginia University. That duel for elimination will be UST's redemption arc, right? Losing in the lower finals of CVAL South 2-3 was such a close affair. I mean, I can pull up those numbers now. They got reverse swept, mind you, by West Virginia after winning 13-11, 13-5. So, UCI, you got your redemption arc. Now your story may be drawing to a close is what UST is saying. I mean, Glyph Shore is going to put up those numbers. 1 found, trade immediate. That's a gun upgrade, but you still got to get through this Armageddon. You got to get through the steel wall, and you got to get through Showy, who somehow maybe has flown too close to the sun. Okay. Maybe signs of life here? Maybe around?
Maybe around, right? Hopefully, but Seiku's here. This is, oh my word, okay. All right, I go inside of this. They're being covered by Clove, and now we're rolling Thunder really just to seal the deal.
I don't think you needed that, bro.
But, yeah, just throw it all into the...
Wait, it's last round and a half, you have to.
Yeah, exactly, you just gotta throw whatever you got. But Jason was the one who walked up into heaven. That means the Viper's Pit has fallen. They're doing everything they possibly can to stall this out for as long as they can. First, the boombot goes out, but it's taken through. Again, the smoke goes up, right? They're trying to do whatever they can to give cover. The squad to go in through.
Spike.
Finally, though, finally for UCI, it took 11 rounds in this half when they finally get the one that they need.
2 things. 1, better late than never. 2, this pistol then. It would be their first pistol of the series, and it is the most important one to keep UST off of map and series point. And the difficulty here is, number 1, it's attack sided. And, I mean, you have no room for error here, Sam.
Oh, yeah. No room for error. Just like you have no room for error when it comes to your connections, Obi. Exit lag ensures better and faster connection routes to game servers, eliminating connection issues with a single button press. I want to say a big thank you to Exit Lag for being an official partner here. 2025 CVAL Championship. Take a look at the coupon code GGWP for 50% off your order. Make sure you're playing at the best possible connection that you can. Especially when it comes to a pistol round like this, where you're 11-1.
Yeah. UST trying to say GG well played right about now. You heard all the utility, Glyph challenging still with off their smokes. Try to take the 1v1 against the Rays, but this is chaos, right? It feels like UCI is scared to take these engagements, giving up a lot of space here, generating a B opening for UST. I mean, the Molly found a kill on delay, stuck in blue room. I mean, you have the trio here, you have the paranoia, but nobody gets hit by it.
Sheesh. And then you just go back in for a shoulder peek a couple of times, and the rest of the players that are alive, Richie and Jason, are so low on the HP. Whoa. The other Jason's doing well. Jason L gets that first frag on this AQ. That leaves just one player, Xiaowi, by themselves. No mollies either. No guided salvo. There's just far too many numbers. And finally for UCI, not only was it a round in the previous half, but it's the first pistol round of the series for them. Goes their way.
No, the adrenaline sets in when you realize you're 1 or 2 rounds away from elimination in a tournament. Well played. I was nervous. I'm like, this is looking messy, to say the least, right? You have a solo player over towards Rubble. You have Glyph about to punish them. And then you have, giving up the space because of a lot of utility. And, I mean, ultimately here, they retook the B site well, and then Toxic Screen helped them out with that a little bit. So again, mentioning the composition difference without a Sentinel, it typically is just 2 players C instead. Now, I am nervous about this. I know taking space is pretty standard here, but the entire squad for USC is about to roll up and challenge Muffin Cat and Jason.
Ooh. They may not even need to, right? With that one pickoff there onto Richie, you saw the entire UST squad just immediately pivot back in this direction. It's going to be up to Jason to hold this line with a 1v4, but Lace is there on the uptake, or was there on the uptake. Mate, Niles, you're crazy with that Sheriff, and you're going to try and do it again, but it's Jason and this Phantom rocking the world of UCI until they get their own head sliced off. Now they walk out through the other side of the smoke. Jason not seen. Seikyu gets inside of the revolving doors in the nick of time. Tree protected. Spike planted soon. Oh, wait, Jason, though, slipped in.
That's huge. They're not going to expect it in a million years, especially when Seikyu was going for the safe quote-unquote plant in that situation. Now Glurf Sonic's in the clutch position, the 1v2. You can see just Jason and Muffin Cat not trying to take any chances, make contact, the second swings, and the round is secured. Albeit messy as it may be, a win nonetheless. Much needed to keep this road to recovery, keep this miracle run of a Lotus alive.
Yeah, that being able to sneak inside of Tree saved that round for UCI. Jason, under the cover, under the guise of that play, completely catches UST off guard. But this could have ended in disaster, right? UCI picked up the power weapons. They picked up the better weaponry that UCI had bought up, and that could have gone topsy-turvy so quickly, and UST could have been looking at match and series point. Now UCI has to win out their bonus round. They forced up weapons here, and they're already starting off on an electric footing.
Okay. Spike down. Nice one-way punishment from Jason. The trade. Good for Muffin Cat here. Dust starts to settle. Seikyu still has to recover the spike. One way gives them the way in. It got messed up a little bit. The clove smoke still either way would have enabled the safe recovery. But do you see what I see? I spy a glyph in an off position. All the way through B. All the way through C. It's again the lack of a sentinel. No trapwire, no cam.
No,
and they are going to backstab the two players that took deep mountain control. This might just be it. Oh,
wait, Glyph! Okay, they still got theirs, and they dealt a heck of a lot of damage onto Lays. They even tripped the wall. Seikyu's just gonna back off, play with their teammate here. That could have gone really bad had Glyph hit a couple more of those shots, Lays not being there. But now they are. They get the guided salvo, they have the stealth drone, they have the special delivery, they have all of the utility afforded to them with this Taeho, and the breach on top of that too. You're seeing the, just straight up rolling thunder push them back. The thorns are gonna slow things down, put it back into contention here. Arc Rose goes in, but taken out, immediately destroyed. Richie wants to take a fight, but it's AQ. It's simple as that. You just walk in back and forth and tear them all down one after another. University of St. Thomas match and series point now.
UCI sitting on the brink of elimination after what was a beautiful opener falls apart again around a last-minute composition shift. Lack of a sentinel, lack of spatial awareness, and Glyph 17 and 10 definitely living up to the Lotus cloves of the past of history right now with this performance. They'd have more kills if the game was going on longer. 17 and 10, one round to go. They're thinking they know finally how the mound fight's about to go, but I like this. Look, it's a crunch revolving door play kind of set up. Or are you fighting the spawn,
that's
right?
Not good.
They haven't been really putting too much utility there. And now, Muffin Cat, heater rifle in hand, tip of the spear. They're doing it.
They got the one way that scared me for Muffin Cat at a second, right? Hit with the suppress from the stealth drone. Now they're back over. They do get the spike, and again, Glyph. No, wait, Jason! Not like that, surely not. But it is gonna be like that. And UST, even better, gets the spike planted. This is gonna be UCI scrambling to get back over to A.
Gonna get the spike down. A little under a minute. Still numbers favoring UCI here. Searching for those weapon upgrades through the attacker spawn. Nicely done. Again, Glyph is this wild card, right? They're in such a high impact position. Are they going to whiff? Are they not? It's going to be the question. We saw what happened last time, right? They should have been good for both, only good for 1.5. And now, with all these players going in, and look at Jason staring down Blue Room as well. They seem pretty aware, and it's been dealt with.
Yeah, you get rid of Glyph. You've taken out a major piece of the puzzle. Jason on a warpath. And you're not going to let UST have this, for goodness sake. And once the entire squad rolls onto the site, mate Niles, Crosshair going everywhere. UCI, with 2 seconds, 3 seconds to spare, gets the spike defused.
Whew, close. But no dice for UST to close out this series. All right, it was 13-5 on Icebox, right? The fake 9-3 comeback. Now an 11-1 comeback in the making. How far did they get, Sam? Hot seat.
Hot seat, huh?
Snowball number.
I'm gonna go Icebox number again, right?
13-5?
Yeah, I'm going 13-5.
All right. You know what?
I think UST.
I trust in UCI. but something about a UST eco round, maybe a 13-4. Let's see. I mean, it gets dicey, right? You get confident, you get brash, and then with a hero rifle like this, Glyph almost put up the performance I was asking for here. Regardless of the chaos is enough, it keeps the 4 players tied up for you to make your way onto the C site. I love this from the shadows. It's gonna play Jason in a comfortable position as a weapon down, and just like that, my prediction may be coming true. Mate Niles pops the showstopper. The Thorns inadvertently keeping them at bay for the time being.
Whoa.
Keeps the players for UCI alive, but it's a 3-on-3.
And look at AQ. Barely any HP to work with. They're gonna have to rely on the rest of the squad too. Not the best of firepower, not the best of weaponry, nor are they concussed out of their minds. AQ! Let's just get rid of them! Richie this time with a showstopper, putting this one out to pasture. UCI holds on for that 5th round.
You know what? I thought for a second UST was gonna do it, right? A nice high-low setup. You mentioned CVAL being low HP. Didn't matter. They had Showy at their side. The stun comes in, it doesn't matter. Mate Niles is there to swing instead for them. And just insane showstopper gets popped, and just like that, UCI get their 5th on the board. Now we're back to a rifle round. I mean, this was the tipping point for me. I'm like, they got a weapon, they got control, they got posted up CT. Like, this should have been a UST or Eco thrifty round into the next round of CVAL Championship lowers, but UCI on to their 5th. We run it back again, and this is the tipping point where Icebox bubbled into a UST victory this rifle round, and they picked the operator back up.
And these ultimates too are gonna be the big ones as well, right? So much on side of no, Jason! TQ's gone, but they couldn't get back inside. Mate Niles setting up the tempo, setting up the pace. It was a UCI A-stack gamble. They're still there, and the spike is being planted on C. Finally, the rest of the squad is coming back around. But look at this, it's planted for Mound. They don't even need to be here. They have guided sound, but they have an Armageddon.
Look at Glyph! Number 1. Number 2, I think they were okay giving up C here because of the Armageddon retake. My concern, though, is that Jason, again, operator retakes never go well. CVAL lost their ability to use the Steel Garden here, which is huge, but you also have your own Armageddon. But Glyph, it's over. It's going to be Glyph. I mean, yeah, you have the Armageddon, but the delay here from the paranoia, it's all beautiful to set Glyph up for the late round success. How do they throw this is the question right now.
That really is the question. But now Glyph's lurk not quite going to plan. Never mind, it is. Right, we're talking about all this. Mate Niles and a 4K to send University of St. Thomas into a 13-5 victory over University of California, Irvine. Their lower bracket run continues, Zobi, and now the rematch of the century is happening soon.
I want to say tomorrow. Outside of that, though, I mean, 4K is aplenty. Every player truly for that squad was delivering, right? Glyph and their lurks on that map. Again, I mean, the Viper prowess was also there. We had, I mean, numbers from Mate Niles on both maps. I'll say it, Corsonics or Group Sonics was doing a great job on the Reyna on Icebox. Showy as well, the utility was always perfect. CVAL truly coming to their own on the Vice as well. UCI put up a good run, you know, I think lived up to got their revenge arc. They checked their own boxes, their own storyline. But their journey now comes to an end. Definitely surpassing, I think, the expectations of a lot of people being West 4 CVAL 27. But ultimately, only the best of the best will survive. And this is our CVAL 2024 runner-up, looking to make a repeat appearance later, about a month out there in Raleigh, North Carolina.
And still a long road to go for UST, University of St. Thomas, to make that run happen. But this is a good start, right? This is a big boon in the cap. I mean, you 13-5 on both maps. You look strong. You look confident. You're taking on some of the best players in VALORANT, right? Not even just in Collegiate, but in VALORANT itself. And now you're going to go back for that grudge matchup, that blood that you're smelling in the water against West Virginia University. And you know that they're going to do whatever it takes to make that happen, Zobi. And that's not even to mention what's going to be happening later on in the stream for the broadcast later tonight. That's going to be happening with Winthrop University versus HU Storm.
Spicy one.
Winner. That is going to be an incredibly spicy one. That's going to set up the matchup between whoever wins that and Tama Maroon. So a lot of VALORANT action to be looking forward to here, Zobi.
Yeah, I mean, Winthrop just lost to Maryville, right? In the grand finals of NACE. They're coming in with tenacity. They want this deep run. Probably want that rematch against Maryville in the uppers more than anything to prove that for once and for all, they are the best team in Collegiate. Again, Moob's calling me out of my seating, but who's right at the moment? Anyways, I'll throw the shade, I know. Anyways, regardless, it's been a great matchup. I think not as it was more one-sided than we expected, but nonetheless, you're gonna get those. It's bound to happen in this lower bracket. But all in all, great showing from both teams. Sam, great cast as usual with you guys, and thanks to everybody at St. Clair in the back end, on production, on observing, making this broadcast possible. Thanks to Exit Lag as well, enabling better, faster connections. Make sure to check out code GG well played, and you'll get to see Infernosis and Jackson 5K to navigate that Winthrop HU Storm series later tonight, 7 p.m. EST, same place. We'll catch you there.